I thought I would. Hey there. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at a high-level HIPAA security architecture diagram. And in this diagram, what's been depicted are two practice locations and remote users getting access to a data center. What we're trying to achieve here is how the HIPAA security rule is applied across the security architecture. So if we start from the left to the right, we have two office locations, one in Boston, one in New York. Let's assume these are practices. And these practices have VPN connections directly to the data center. This site-to-site VPN tunnel lets me know that this access is not external facing and that this access is secured. And then we also have some remote users that were given access to this data center as well. Let's assume that this organization is providing telemedicine services, so it needs its doctors to be able to access the information that's sitting in that EHR application or database server. So one of the things that we're going to do, just starting from left to right here, is take a look at how some of the administrative and physical safeguards will be applied, as well as the technical safeguards. So for the offices, both New York and Boston, the expectation is that they're going to have similar controls, but let's assume that we're assessing each office or practice for different types of controls. So for the Boston office, we're assessing for the administrative safeguards. So we're assessing for periodic risk assessments. We're also determining if the workforce is getting trained, as well as any incident response processes or documentation. And then in the New York office, we're concerned about the physical access to the location. So we're accessing if there are badge readers or anything that ensures that we're able to track who's accessing that practice, as well as any workstation security. We want to ensure that those workstations are locked down, they are not able to be accessed, as well as any device controls that ensure that only required users are able to access those systems. And then we are also looking at what types of controls are implemented for the remote users. It looks here like they have some remotes, some laptops that are configured with a VPN client, and that VPN client is linked with an identity provider that requires multi-factor authentication for access control. So I'm pretty okay with looking at the administrative controls here, the physical control, the administrative controls in Boston, physical controls in New York, as well as technical controls are applied for remote users. And then if we take a look at the data center, so the data center, we're probably just renting a space in that data center. So for compliance, we may ask that data center to provide some level of attestation of what they do to secure physical access to that data center. And then some administrative controls may be applied to ensure that we're segregating our subnets. So we have our public subnets, that's basically our edge subnets, receiving requests. We have some logical controls that are applied to ensure that that traffic is being filtered. And then we have our private subnets. That private subnet is where our EHR systems are located, and on those servers we have different controls like the host-based firewall, endpoint protection, encryption, logging. We have some backup controls and patch management controls as well. So at a high level, this would help me as the risk and compliance manager for the organization to understand where the risk lies within this organization. And, obviously over time, I can improve this diagram, add more controls or take controls based on how the business, is trying to proceed. Some recommendations that I may have for the organization here is to apply more segregation or segmentation for your private subnet. We may want to separate our application server as well as database server. That just provides better security. But that's probably one of the recommendations that I'll provide here. Anyway, yeah, just wanted to provide a quick guide to how a risk assessment will be performed. Let me know what other recommendations you would have for the organization. And if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to let me know. Thank you.